Hey guys, welcome back to CheatSheetPros.com. Today we're going to do the 2025, I guess 26 tutorial for the NBA cheat sheet. I've got one on the website from last year. It's pretty much the same, but I'm going to go through. There's a couple slight changes. And just for anyone new, we posted this yesterday, so I figured this is a great time to do an NBA tutorial. We hit it for almost 19-to-1 odds. And I posted it everywhere. Twitter, Reddit, free group, Facebook group, Cheat Sheet Pros group, chat group, website. It was all over the place. So hopefully you caught that. Let's go ahead and take a look. When you open up the NBA cheat sheet, let me get you slid up here in the middle. Make sure I've got enough room for everything. Okay, so these tabs here at the bottom, let me get them pulled up. So we have our main tab, bet tab, props, game logs, scoreboard, DVP, DK, props, and leaderboard. So we're going to just go one by one. I'm going to give you a quick tutorial of each tab. So your main tab, this is more if you're doing DFS. You know, we have our custom projections that we put over here. You can sort by value. We also have these fun little player labels for like diamond, hot player, popcorn, min value, to kind of label the players that you're looking at. We also have a couple places that pull the projected minutes, the average minutes last 3, because that's key. And then this is all of your basic stuff: team, opponent, team total, game time, positions, all that fun stuff. And then we have the projections for DraftKings, for FanDuel. Again, our custom ones over here. We have rough ownership rates. And then over here, this is the last 10 games. And this is in terms of fantasy points. And you can see the color key up here. So 6x, 5 to 6, 4.5 to 5, and sub 4 5. And we color coded it so you can easily see, like right here. So this particular player had 3 games of 6x and then kind of went down, went up, went down, and then had boom, boom, 2 big games of 63.5 and 53.8 points. You can see how many 6x games they've had in the last 7 in this column. And then we look for 5x hit rate. I haven't played daily fantasy in a couple of years. But it used to be 5x on DK was kind of value, what you needed to get close to the cash line. 6x, 7x was good. So I showed the 5x hit rate, the 6x, and then the 7x to kind of get you an idea of who's got the ceiling, who's got the floor. And then also here we can see the DVP, what the opponent is right next to it, and it's just the total rank. If you want to dig in deeper, over here we have our fantasy points per minute breakdown. So we can see what the fantasy points per minute is per player, and then what it is the last 5. And then you can see if this player is trending up or trending down. For example, Day'Ron Sharp is playing at a 1.19 on the season. That's pretty common for him. The last 5 games, he's playing at a 1.61, so that's a 42% jump. So maybe that's someone you stick in a GPP or whatnot. And then we have our custom projections here. And then we have a fun little column. We just take the last 5 games, fantasy point per minute, times their projected minutes, and we give you another little projection. So if you've got an optimizer where you can upload custom projections, you can copy the names and projections out of here, or you can go over here and take this last 5 numbers. You can see like some of these people, a lot of them are kind of in the ballpark. I was trying to find one to show you that had a big change, but I don't see one off the top of my head. And again, these are just minutes for the people that really dig into there. It shows you how many minutes they've played each of the last 5, last 3, last 5, last 10 average, all that fun stuff. So this main tab is mainly like your DFS type tab. Now, when you get into sports betting, which is what I do a lot more of, I'm going to look at these other tabs. So this is our bet tab. So I cleaned this up a lot. It used to have a ton of information in here, but if the carrot is gone, always click inside this bottom team. The carrot opens up, and then boom, you can pick the home team. It will automatically change the road team, and you can see what our model is, what Vegas is, what the edge is, last 10 record, power rankings for the 2 teams, our main model projections right here in the middle, and we got various stats over here. I love looking at game logs to see kind of who they've played, how they did against those teams, how they did on the home versus road versus the overs versus the unders. And so I've got everything you need. So this is Milwaukee right here, and we can see their last 10 games. This shows everything, home, away, who they played, the FPI ranking for the team they played, so you can see how they do against, you know, teams that are ranked good, which are red, or teams that are bad, which are green. And then you can see the margin of victory or margin of loss and the total points in that game. So you kind of get an idea of what they're going to do. So this is basically all the game logs. And if you see these little carrots over here, that's a prior matchup. So these teams played back then, and you can see here Milwaukee lost 128 to 100. It was a 28-point game, and they put up 228. So that kind of helps you go back and look and, see a prior matchup. And if you want to look at the game logs, you can say, okay, they played on 11/4/2025. Boom, look it up, go. And then we have our last 10 averages, our last 20 averages, our last 30 game averages, which they haven't quite filled out yet, but they're coming. And then this is going to be your little stat hub over here on the corner. And we've got everything from your record, home, road, overall, last 10, streaks, and then against the spread, what they are: ATS, ATS home, ATS on the road, their total over-under, their over-under at home, their over-under on the road. So if you're playing totals, this gives you some information right there without digging in too deep. And then over here, we have our last 10 power rankings and how the offense and defenses rank. What I dig into, I spend more time looking at this right here. I look at pace and efficiency. So if you look at the offensive efficiency, so right here you can see Toronto on the season, they're a 1.12. And over the last 3, they're 1.08. So they're scoring 4 less points per 100 possessions. So they're on a decline. Defensively, they're allowing 1.10. That means they give up 110 points per 100 possessions. And over the last 3 games, they're giving up 1.13. So you can see here, this is a 7-point swing. They've lost 4 points on offense, and they're giving up 3 more points on defense to make it jump a little bit more. But that's how you read these stats. And again, you can flip over here and look at all these games, see which ones are doing better. Like here's one that's doing really good. So OKC's 1.18, 1.2 over the last 3. They've jumped. And then defensively, they took a huge leap from 1.02. Now they're allowing 0.96. So these are numbers you can kind of mess with. Pace is another one. I look at the season pace and I look at the pace last 3, and then I come up with a projected pace, which you can see right here. So if you're coming up with like any type of model or you want to multiply some of these numbers, this little light blue number is kind of the projected pace that I put this game at and I use for most of my models. Over here, when you get into player props, let's see, we're going to do that one. Also, when you're betting, if you don't want to dig through each game and see all this information, you can go right here to the scoreboard tab. Everything's all in one spot. Record, last 10, streak, ATS, everything we just went over. Rankings for offense, defense, season last 3, pace. You can get a really good idea what they're going to do. Vegas, and then you see our model. And you can even change this. If you want to say, hey, show me any game that's got a 1-point difference, boom, it's going to fill a bunch of them up. If you say, hey, I want 3, all right, now we've narrowed it down. You want to go 4.5 points, you can change that. And heck, you could even say, hey, I want to see games with a 10-point difference than the model. Change that, and it will bring up the recommended plays over here. So, again, just find out what you're comfortable with. I think I defaulted at 4.5. Some people last year had a certain number. They did 7, 7.5, 8, somewhere around there. But you can see Vegas. You can see our line. We project a score and a total on every game. This shows you what our line would be, what the edge is compared to Vegas. And then over here, this is going to pull in like your FPI rankings from ESPN and show you some of the differences. So that's what you're doing if you're betting. Now, again, DVP zone, this is more if you're doing fantasy, but it shows FanDuel, DraftKings, the points to each position. This is the actual points. This is ranked. If you're looking at points, I broke it down to guards, forwards, centers. And then I also did rebounds, assists, threes, etc., etc. Now, if you get into the sports betting, these are going to be the other fun props. So over here, the prop tab. So this is one. You click in here. You can flip around and look at these different games. Oh, did I just click the same one? Okay, so this is going to show you all kinds of stats. So if you click in this box, it's going to show you points, rebounds, assists, PRA, fantasy score, threes, blocks, steals, points and rebounds, points assist, and rebounds assist. And so you can kind of look at all of these. I just leave it default points because I bet a lot of leading score of the game. Also, we have your standard deviation, which I don't think I talked about in the last video. And just today, I added the hit rate over this last, over these last 7 games. So you can see like, okay, this person, Chet Holmgren, his prop 16.5. He's hit it 86% of the time. The standard deviation, typically, if it's less than 3 to 4, that's a pretty consistent player. The lower the standard deviation, the more consistent someone is. The higher the standard deviation, the more wild it is. So let me find an example here. All right, so here's Zubac right here has a standard deviation of 7.9. And you can see he scored 6 points and then 33 and then 15 and then 10. So here he was pretty consistent, and then he kind of went all over the map here, went up to 33, down to 6, which skewed this. So if you're looking for player props, I like taking someone with a low standard deviation. For example, Julius Randle last night had like a 2.5, and so we took him at 15 plus or 18 plus points. And then here you can see a low 1.2 is Bogdanovich. He's got 7, 10, 9, you know, pretty consistent. He's not really going to blow up. He's really not hitting his number. But if you took like 6 plus points for something like that on a standard deviation, you can be pretty safe. The higher the deviations, for example, this 7.9 here, say you take Jordan Miller to score 30 points, that's going to be like plus 500. He's done it one time, but he has more upside, you could say, but less consistency. My favorite tab of all is this game log tab. So you can see all the fun information. I typically pull 10 players in. Some of these you'll get down here, and this will be blank. So like whoever the hell this guy is, he's projected for 16 minutes. If they're playing 10 to 12 minutes, I don't pull them in. They usually don't have a lot of prop lines for those players. So usually the top 7 are filled up, and it's going to be your top 3 to 5 up top. So right here we can see Kevin Porter. So you can see all of these games, like the score, home, away, who they played, so much good information in here. And then you can see basically their stat sheet for that game side by side. So these are points, rebounds, assists, PRA. And then this has what they're projected, what they did the last 4, the difference. And then this is the prop. If there's any prop lines, when I run the sheet, they're going to come here and it's going to populate this hit rate. So for example, Kevin Porter, you can see his points plus rebounds plus assist is 33.5. He's hit it at 71% of the time over these last 7 games. And he's projected at 31. His last 4 has been 33.5, so he averages about 3 more. So that's one to take a look at. Then you come over here, we look at Brandon Ingram. His points props 24.5. He's projected at 22. He's averaged 24. Not really a ton there, but you can see looking at his game logs across here, 28, 31, 30. So these last 3 games, I would do an alt of like 20 plus points. I think that's pretty safe. And then you want to look at the game he missed. So here on 12-5, he scored 7 points. He still took 13 shots. He just didn't hit that many, and they were getting blown out. They lost by, well, whatever number that is, 111 to 86. And so he only played 29 minutes instead of 38, 39 minutes. So he played less minutes, took less shots. So that's what happens in a blowout. But in all of these other games, you know, he's done 19, 18, 20 field goal attempts, 21, 31, or 28, 31, 30 points, so you can kind of get an idea. Over here, if you don't remember, this is the DVP for the stat. So for example, rebounds. This is what the opponent is in rebounds. So here we can see that Milwaukee is 24th in rebounds, so they're allowing the 24th most rebounds, and so this is good for like a rebound prop. So this might be one you look at 6.5. He's got 5, 6, 4, 9, 7, 6. So he's in a good matchup, but he's not really killing that. So that gives you a good idea of the game props. Now let me flip through and find one. Oh, what did I post today? Let's look at the Houston game. That would be a good one to give an example. Houston and Pelicans. All right, here we go. All right, so here we can see another way to look at this is like, for example, say Zion was out these games. So when you come down here and you look at Trey Murphy, you're like, okay, Zion was out. What did Trey Murphy do? He was out here. What did Trey Murphy do? He was out here. What did Trey Murphy do? He returned. What did Trey Murphy do? So he put up 24, 32, 23 points, and then he dropped to 20 when Zion returned. So kind of pay attention if someone's coming back from an injury, you can take a look at it. Now, when I open up this tab, if there's a lot of games like today, the first thing I'm doing is I'm scrolling this column right here. I'm looking for red. So if I can find red, there's a lot of red in this game. That's why I picked it up. And there's a little blue. So the red I'm going to look at. So I flip down here. So Trey Murphy should come right to your list. Let's pull him up. Let me grab a snippet and I'll blow this up for you and show you kind of some of the things that I look for. So Trey Murphy, we're going to bring him over here in the middle. I'm going to blow this up so you can see it. We're going to make it a little bigger. And it should be plus, 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 plus. Okay, so Trey Murphy over here, this column, his hit rate, he's doing fantastic. 100% on his points, 83 on the rebounds, 83 on the assists, PRA. If you get something like this, then the next column I look at is this one right here. I want to know, where is he exceeding it? You know, if his rebound's 4.5 and he's putting up 6, or if his assists are 2.5, he's putting up 4, that's not a ton. But if his PRA is 25.5 and he's putting up 34, or his points prop is 18.5 and he's putting up 24.8, I'm going to look for these green numbers here, and then I'm going to look at his points or his points, rebounds, assists. So those are kind of the things I look at. You can also look at three-pointers. Occasionally I'll do some three-point wins. Blocks and steals I don't mess with a lot, but I put them in here. The other thing I look at are minutes. So if you pick a player, if you don't follow NBA, just make sure they're playing consistent minutes. So here we can see he's playing 30-plus minutes a game. Also look at what he's projected at. He's projected at 34. He's averaging 34.5. So we shouldn't have an issue with how many minutes he is playing. Now, if you see the last 4 is 30.45 and then all of a sudden he's projected for 16, then know, okay, something's off. Someone's back, there's an injury, he's on a minutes restriction. So that's something to kind of put a question mark by and keep an eye on. Also, I love looking down here at the field goal attempts, especially if you're looking at production. So if they miss, I always want to look and see how many field goal attempts did they do. So 14, 14, 21, 17, 17, 21. That's phenomenal. He's taken a ton of shots. You can compare it to the other team. His PRA of 25.5. I think on the parlay I posted for tonight, I did 20 plus. But look, he's got 32, 34, 39, 33, 36, 52. So 20 plus feels like a lock. I look at that and I'm like, yeah, I'll throw that in there and slap some money on it. Why not? But that's how we're going to use this game log tab. Scoreboard we went over, DVP we went over. Props and leaderboard, these two are similar. So your leaderboard is just going to let you pick any of these props here, and then it's going to show you what they did the last 7 games, and you can sort by highest average for last 5, last 7 versus the projection versus the prop, hit rate, differences, all that fun stuff. So a lot of people use this tab. I do if I'm looking for something specific like assist or rebounds, I'll go in and look at it. But I use this DK props tab more because when I pull this, I've got most of the main props in here. And as long as there's a line on it, it's going to pull it in, it's going to populate it and compare it to its last 7 games. So here I always sort by last 7 hit rate, which you can see. So, whoops. So these props here are 7-0. So we have Jeremiah Fears, assist. We have Jonas Valen, whatever his name is, points. Laurie Markkinen, rebounds. Najee, PRA. And then Sadiq Bey, rebounds, and Sadiq Bey, PRA. So what I do is I kind of note the game. I'm like, okay, Fears plays on the Pelicans, Bey plays on the Pelicans. Now I've got a same game parlay. Now I can take a look at those two. And if you skip down one more, on the other side, you've got, okay, Aaron Holiday, PRA. Well, his is 9.5. I'm not really going to mess with that one. But this gives you an idea of what you can look for. And you can sort by hit rates. If you want to find something that's just hot over the last 3, look at how many of these props are 3-0. Actually, that's way too many. So let's do last 5. So last 5, now it gives us these pops here. Now, Quentin Post was in mine today. So his points, he's got 11, 16, 19, 12, and 10, and a points prop of 9.5. So I think we did 6 plus, 8 plus on a prop we posted, something like that. Trey Murphy that we just talked about. Look, he jumps in here. You know, his points prop is 18.5, and he's put up 20. Whoops. Let me put that back. 20, 24, 32, 23, 21, 33. So, I mean, you can get 15 plus points and get really good odds on that. Now, Zion's back, so he's probably not going to put up 30. But again, you know, even if you did his PRA, he's done a ton there, and you can see these differences. But this is what I do to, I'll go down here and I'll write in the 80% or better props that I like that have a pretty good difference. And what's over here? And you can see standard deviation, their last 5 versus the prop line. I did the number. I also did the percentage for the lower ones. If it's like 1.5 and they've put up 2.5, the number is going to be 1, but the percentage is going to be really high that they can look at. And then also look at the minutes. If a guy's playing 13 minutes or 18 minutes, you probably don't even want to mess with that. But I use this, and then I jump over here to this game log tab, and then I just start flipping around these games. And I start looking for red, like boom. Okay, this guy, a lot of red. So I'm going to flip over. Oh, the reason he's got a lot of red is he doesn't have any, he's only got 1 game. He hadn't been back. So we're going to flip around. We're going to go down here. So Steven Castle, he's got a couple, so he's only got 3 games, but he's doing really well, pretty consistent. And over here, notice the DVPs ranked 30th, 28, 28. So he should have a pretty good opportunity. And so I start writing these down for each game on a little notepad until I get 4 or 5 plays that I like. And then I go see what the lines are, and I pick the best lines, put them together, and that's how we start building. But anyways, that's a pretty basic tutorial for the cheat sheet. It's posted every day, so if you guys have any questions, let me know, but I'll go ahead and get this uploaded for you. Thank you.